Guys, thank you for joining us at Base Camp for our opening media activity here in our home from home at the Dolder Ground. Pleased to be joined by Georgia, and Anton, we'll begin with you.
Afternoon, Georgia.
Hello.
Players are telling us after the game on Saturday, they go back, they review the footage. How difficult a watch was it?
Yeah, it was difficult. I think everything that we wanted to happen didn't happen. Yeah, we know as a team that we underperformed. We know as individuals that we underperformed. But it was actually a really helpful meeting. Yeah, we watched clips, of course, but it was a lot of talking, a lot of communicating, a lot of discussions, which, yeah, I think is also super healthy.
What mistakes are you looking to avoid then in that case?
We don't concede. No, I think what we want is, going forward, is we want to just make actions. We want to stop talking, hence why I didn't want to do the press conference today, because I'm fed up of talking now. It's time that we focus and we want to put things on the grass. We want to make sure that we put things right on the pitch in order for us to be able to have this setting and be able to talk. I understand that we can't always talk when things are positive, which is normal, but I think we want to create action from what happened on Saturday, and the only way to do that is in the game on Wednesday. And I think we're all just dying for the game to come round as fast as possible, because we want to make sure that we're stepping on that foot, having knowing what we've experienced, but also wanting to make change in that. We've spoken about wanting to be proper England. We want to go back to what we're good at. We want to go back to traditional style of football in terms of tough tackles, getting back down to the roots, remembering why we're here, remembering playing for the little girl that wanted to be here. And sometimes it is about blocking out the noise, and it's about just getting on that pitch and just getting stuck in.
Georgia, how are you? Because obviously, playing only 300 minutes, or less than 300 minutes in 7 months can't be ideal when you're now playing 2 games a week in a major tournament.
Well, if you put it like that, yes. But I think in my situation, my injury wasn't a bad thing for me. It was the first time I'd missed games for 10 years. It's my first injury in 10 years, so I think that's a very good innings. In terms of the last 6 months, I've done many rehab sessions, many sessions to get fitter, faster, stronger, and I do feel in a good place. If I'm being totally honest, I'm disappointed with my performance on Saturday. For some reason, I couldn't do the things that I wanted to be able to do, in terms of in possession especially. And that's why I just knew that I had to run around. I had to put some tackles in, and my way of kind of communicating, showing, if I can't do something on the ball, then I'll work my socks off to make sure that I can do it off the ball.
You're not the only player in the lineup that's coming back from a long-term injury. Obviously, you've got Alex Greenwood and Lauren Hemp and Lauren James as well. That's 4 players from the starting lineup. Does that have a slight effect on sort of what England can do? Because, it can't be easy. Yeah,
but I think you're using injury as a negative, whereas we can also look at it as a positive way of, that's the time when you've been able to get yourself back together. You're able to work on things in the gym that you haven't had time to work on before. Like I said before, you're able to get fitter, faster, stronger, and for me that is the case. I've got test results now that I've not seen in the last 2 years, because they've never been that good before, and I do think that is because of the time that I got to do the rehab sessions. We all know as individuals what we're capable of. We know as a team what we're capable of, and we just have to do it.
Hi, I'm Jane from BBC. You've talked about it now's the time for action, and you don't want to talk anymore. But what do you and the players need to do, the rest of the squad need to do differently against the Netherlands than you did against France?
There's different individuals. Obviously, we know the quality that the Netherlands have got. We are facing a completely different opposition. I think if we look at Netherlands, they play a lot of midfielders. So maybe they're more likely to come inside than they are to go outside. I don't know if that's going to be the case. Obviously, you don't know until the game. But they play a lot of midfield players, which is going to overload the central areas. I guess we just have to see what the game brings. But in terms of what we can control, I think, of course, we want to be better on the ball, but we can control our mentality going into it, and we can control our emotions on the pitch. I think we need to demand more from each other. We need to communicate in those moments. And communication isn't just about speaking, but it's about action. Like I said, if you put a tough tackle in, or if somebody's doing the run for you, or if somebody's running back or pressing forward, those are the little triggers that we can almost use as catalyst moments.
Georgia, there's a really horrible scenario that if England were to lose against the Netherlands and then Wales were to lose to France, that you both go out. That's, a real possibility. That's not something I guess you want to contemplate, though.
It's reality. If we're not good enough on Wednesday, then we don't deserve to continue in the tournament.
Thanks, Jane. We'll go back to ITV News and Chloe, please. Thank you.
Hi, Georgia. What would you say to England fans who are now worried about your chances of getting out of this group?
Lucy pulled us together, and she used the example of they lost their opening game in 2015 against France as well. And it was just kind of like a together moment to be like, okay, we got a 2-1, we could have got a draw, and I think even at our worst, we were still able to put a performance together that is worthy of a draw. So I feel like it's just, we need to perform. Of course, we want the fans to stay with us. They know what we're capable as well. And yeah, just to support us through and through. We knew that it was going to be a tough group. And yeah, true fans stick with us thick or thin.
Thanks, Chloe. We'll go to Rob.
Hi, Rob from Sky News. How are you balancing out in the camp being self-critical for improvement and it not sort of getting everyone down?
I think you are allowed that time after the game. You're allowed the time to be able to be disappointed, to look at yourself. And then the day after, it was more about working on what we can do as a whole team. Yeah, we had good conversations, good meetings. We watched clips on how we can do it. And then I think the day after the game, as soon as you get on that grass, you kind of forget about everything that's happened. I had a message from somebody that I knew, and it was like, it's just like a bad night out. You want to forget it as much as possible and move on to the next one. So yeah, that is exactly what we're going to do.
So you are keeping with those messages from the home. Is it sort of getting the inspirational messages rather than listening to some of that noise you talk about?
Yeah, definitely. And you know your support network, you know the people that you can lean on. And it's just a matter of them saying, come on, you can do it. Yeah, if somebody gets a message from their grandma, they're straight up to say, my grandma's wished us good luck. And it's like, everybody's watching and everybody cares and everybody's rooting for us. And it's our job to be able to, yeah, make that happen.
Thanks, Rob. We'll go across to Emma, please. If we can keep it to a question, Emma Sanders, a question each from here on in, that'd be great.
No problem. Hi, Georgia. I just wonder, you sort of alluded to it there, but did your personal confidence take a bit of a hit after the game against France?
Of course, I was disappointed with my own performance. I did what I could to control what I could control, so my work rate, my efforts, my communication in terms of what was going on in the game. But I wasn't at the ball, and that was something that I was disappointed about. But I know as an individual that one game doesn't define me as a player or as a person. And I know that when I got back on the grass today that my focus was on and that I just wanted to make sure that every pass was where it needed to be to just be able to build from that.
Thanks, Emma. We'll go to Kit. Thank you.
Hi, Georgia. Can you give us a bit more of an idea about kind of the tone of the discussions you've had as a team since the France game? Were they emotional? Were there any kind of raised voices, or was it more measured than that?
No, it was measured. I think 24 hours after the game, you're a lot more calmer. You're a lot more logical about the situation. And I think for us, it was just communicating on what we need from each other. We actually spoke, and not only yesterday in terms of the conversations, but in football, it can be a lonely place. On the pitch, if you need something and you're not getting it, or if you want something and you're not getting it, also from us, if we're not giving it, it can feel like a lonely place. And we don't ever want to experience that as a team. We want to make sure that we've got the communication, the eye contact, and making sure that we are communicating in good and in bad, because that's when we get the best out of each other.
Thanks, Kit. We'll go across to Luke, please. Thank you.
Hi, George. I know you said you didn't want to talk, but you've spoken very well. So
And a lot.
And a lot, yeah. This is sort of football with a tournament now without a safety net. There could be fear there. How important is it that you stay brave as much as anything on Wednesday?
Yeah, 100%. We have to be brave. We have to be ruthless. And I think you can see, even in spells of the game against France, that urgency, that desperation towards the end of wanting to try and put one in the back of the net. Yeah, we need that for 90 minutes.
Thanks, Luke. We'll go across to Charlotte. Thanks.
Hi, Georgia. You just said the game can't come soon enough and you just want to play it. Have your preparations in terms of how you distract yourself as a team, whether that's Monopoly deal or anything, just to not talk? You've done the talking, but how are these next kind of 48 hours going to play just to let your mind kind of relax a bit? Can you give us some insight into that?
Yeah, I think the most important thing, like for me especially, is I stay very neutral. So I don't get too high and I don't get too low. I enjoy time on my own in my room. I also enjoy with my family. And I think you can kind of work your time as to what works best for you. You can see your family if you want to. You don't have to if they're going to mind you. You can also stay in your room if you want to. Unfortunately, I can't tattoo. So I'm having to find alternatives to keep my mind busy. But I've also enjoyed watching the other games of the tournament.
Thanks.
Thanks, Charlotte. We'll go to this gentleman here. Thank you.
Hi, Georgia. Stan from the Netherlands. Can you tell us something about the pressure there is now on the Team England as you've lost the first one? Is there already some kind of crisis atmosphere in the England camp?
You can kind of look at it both ways. There's either a lot of pressure because we do have to make it work, or there's no pressure because we also do have to make it work. And if we don't, we also know the circumstance. So yeah, it was just like what I said before. We go back to who we are, what we know, what we do best, and we're England. Yeah, we're full of English blood. And yeah, we want to go out there and we want to fight as much as we can, and yeah, go back to the way that we know it.
So not really a crisis already?
No crisis.
Thank you. We'll go to Aisha.
Hi, Georgia. Charlotte mentioned the downtime and the importance of that. Leah mentioned Monopoly deal the other day. You guys are all such competitors on the pitch. I wanted to know a bit of insight. Who's the most competitive with the off-the-pitch Monopoly and other games?
Good question. I always hear Grace and Maya arguing over spike ball. Yeah, trying to watch TV and they come in arguing and I'm like, shut up, I'm trying to watch the TV. Yeah, Tooney's very competitive. And then Arj as well, our assistant coach. Yeah, super competitive both on and off the pitch. Whatever the game is, he has to be involved and he has to be winning.
Thank you. We'll go to Kat.
Hi, Georgia. Good to see you. Obviously, England have so many options at number 10, and LJ hasn't been playing for 90 minutes. I just wonder what that's been like for you guys, sort of sitting behind that, and has it sort of caused any sort of uncertainty?
No, not necessarily. I think me and Kira have played with each other long enough to understand how we both play. Yeah, we're both high on communication in terms of what's going on in the game, tactical information, and we enjoy that. Like partnership that we've got with each other. Obviously we know what LJ can do, we also know what Tooney, Jess Part, Grace can do, and I think that's the beauty of the squad at the moment, is no matter who's on the pitch, we know exactly what we're going to get from each other. I think something going forward is we just have to make sure that we are dealing with everything that we can in every situation. Sometimes it feels like teams put a lot of players in the middle of the pitch, so yeah, we need to try and figure out ways that we can deal with that and that we're not getting overrun. Thank you.
Thanks, Kat. We'll go across to Sophie.
Hi, Georgia. You're one of the more experienced members of this squad now, and probably a leader as well. How have you found that role in the last few days, and I guess in general, because it, I guess, become more and more the more you've played for England?
Yeah, it's just happened, to be honest. Yeah, 1 minute you feel like the kid that's breaking through and yeah, he's fulfilling their dreams, and next minute it's kind of the seriousness of it all. You're invited into important conversations, and you're obviously talking about football a lot. But no, I enjoy it. I think for me, which is why I am disappointed with Saturday, is I would say about myself is my leadership way would be consistency. So to have not had that on Saturday to me was disappointing. But I feel like going forward, that is just what I want to create. I feel like I could lead by example in the way that I'm playing and the way that I'm trying to set the tone, the way that I do get stuck into opposition. That's my way of showing my responsibility within this team.
Thanks, Sophie. We'll take 2 more. We'll go to Holly.
Hi, Georgia. You spoke a bit about family and also the people that help you rally in these moments. Who specifically kind of do you go to in your family to kind of get those messages to, to spur you on? And what have they said to you, following the last game?
I think looking up and seeing my family is enough to spur me on. I always want to know where they're sat in the stands. I always want to know, just where they're placed. Just because to me that's just a little bit of calmness to know, okay, they're here for me. Everything that they've sacrificed is also worth it. But I think in terms of football, I have an agent and I have a mentor. My agent is somebody that I speak to every single day. My mentor is once a week or whenever is needed. And for me, they're the 2 people that I would talk to about absolutely anything, but also the people that I can go to if I'm feeling a little bit insecure or I'm feeling a certain way, and they'll reassure me that things are going to be okay. It could be just a little reference, or it could be a goal going into the next game, that if I achieve that, then I know myself that, I've had a productive day.
Thanks, Holly. We'll finish with Jamie.
Hi, Georgia. You mentioned kind of going back to your roots. Leah said on Saturday that some of the problems defensively came by being a bit too expansive. When you lost the ball, France were very dangerous. Is part of being proper England going back to roots, kind of like going back to basics on the ball in terms of how you set up, or is this a team that really believes in the plan that you had from the start?
Yeah, we believe in the plan that we have. Obviously, we become expansive because that's how we play. And I think if we tidied up on the ball, then expansiveness wouldn't become a problem. I don't even know if that's a word, but it wouldn't become a problem. Whereas, I'm just going to say that. Yeah.
Thanks so much. Thanks, Jane. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.